Welcome back to my channel. I am Chioma Naomi and I'm very happy that you're here. Today we'll be talking about showing up for yourself in the same way that you show up for others. This topic is a rather controversial one, especially for those of us who are recovering or still are actively people pleasing or just kind of have the tendency to people please at all. It can be daunting to think about maintaining the same responsibility for yourself that you would for other people. So for starters, with any type of trust, I want you all to know that, and I've had to learn this for myself also, that building trust takes time, okay? Just like in a interpersonal relationship, building trust with a partner, a friend, or a family member takes time to establish. It's the same with yourself, especially if it's something that's not really normal for you or something that you're used to. One of the clinicians that I used to see actually gave me some really helpful advice, and she said that trust comes with repeated action over time. When you meet someone brand new, you wouldn't trust them right off the bat, right? You would allow yourself to get closer to them, time would pass, and your bond with this person would grow and expand as time moves forward, right? The way you're going to trust yourself is through consistency, showing up for yourself time and time again, maintaining a commitment to yourself in the same way that you would maintain a commitment for someone else. In those ways that you would not want to let others down. Same goes for yourself, right? That relationship you have with yourself can be held to the same magnitude and standard. The relationship we have with ourselves is just that. It's a relationship. It may not feel like that, but it is, right? That you wouldn't want to let your friend down, your mom down, someone else that's counting on you, and you have this sense of responsibility to them. We also have the same responsibility to ourselves. And a lot of time, our self-esteem and the feelings about ourselves, our levels of self-confidence are strictly dependent on how much we can trust whether or not we will complete something, whether or not we'll follow through on something. And that's the same for when we're engaging with others, right? Based on how they treat us, how they engage with us determines whether or not we'll be able to trust them in the long term, whether or not we'll know they'll keep their word, whether or not we'll know if they will really show up for us. That's the message that you're sending to yourself when you show up, right? So what do you want that message to be? Do you want to be able to rely on yourself? Do you want to be able to know yourself? Do you want to be able to trust that, yes, I know I'll show up for myself when the time comes. Yes, I know that I will keep my word to myself. Yes, I trust myself in whatever the situation is, because that's the ultimate goal, right? So keep your word to yourself. I always think of myself as a child, because think about it, like the way we develop our relationship with hope and helplessness and disappointment comes from the adults in our lives as children, right? So when we're a kid, everything that everyone tells you, you're so easily excitable until you're pretty much graced with the experience of disappointment. And once that comes in, it's hard to get over. If you get disappointed enough times, then your mindset shifts, right? You no longer are able to hope in the same way that you once were. You no longer are able to trust what the people around you are saying. And it's the same, right? Don't let yourself down in that way. It's a disappointment. And I feel like we all feel that, right? Or when we say that we're going to do something for ourselves, let's say we're on like some type of fitness journey of sorts, and we somehow maybe miss a couple days or fall off. The things we say to ourselves are a direct reflection about what we think is true, what we think is real, what we think is honest, what we think is genuine about ourselves, right? What we're saying in those moments are how we really feel about ourselves. Oh my God, like I feel so bad, I feel so crappy, or whatever it is you're saying. Those are the emotions that come when we don't keep that commitment, right? It's lowering our self-esteem. We're not able to trust ourselves. Our confidence goes down when we don't keep those commitments to ourselves. For those of you that are performers or creatives or any type of artist or even athlete, right? So you have rehearsals, you have practices. Basketball players, they have practices, they run plays. Same thing with football teams. They run plays. Dancers, performers, choreographers. I think of Beyonce. There's so many months of rehearsal. You have to rehearse, practice, ingrain into yourself the way that you want to feel. So if we keep rehearsing this scene of us feeling disappointed or us making a commitment to ourselves and not keeping it and letting our own selves down, if we keep rehearsing that, that's only going to reinforce that lower self-esteem that we tend to feel as a result of those circumstances, and shifting it to the opposite perspective, right? If we are rehearsing like, okay, I show up for myself, I'm consistent with myself, then we are able to rehearse a more positive, a more polished, a more favorable narrative narrative for ourselves, and that's how we will perform, right? We will show up in our relationships this way. We will show up for our goals in that same way when we rehearse the more positive narrative versus the more convoluted and self-demeaning one. And it's true, we do have to leave room for life to happen. We do have to leave room for things to shift. We do have to be adaptable, but the whole point is you'll be better equipped to handle life's changes and to handle the shifts, the twists and the turns when we are confident and when we are aware of how we will respond to those situations, right? I trust myself, so I know with what's thrown at me, I'll be able to handle it. I feel confident about how I'll be able to adjust to the situation. And if we have the other more negative narrative, that'll be true as well. You won't trust yourself. The opposite will be what will manifest. So keeping those things in mind are really important. And this can go with the things you say about yourself too, right? What we consistently say about ourselves is going to directly determine how we feel about ourselves, right? I'm sure a lot of us have probably heard this phrase before, but it's really true. And it's so simple. Don't say to yourself what you wouldn't say to a friend. You wouldn't be super hard on yourself about not showing up. You would be super gracious, right? And you would be compassionate. You would be gentle with a friend, with a child. You know, for a lot of us, with our parents, with our moms, right? We would show them compassion. We would show them grace. We would honor what they did do. And I think we somehow miss the mark with ourselves. We hold ourselves to such mountainous standards and we get so down on ourselves when we don't meet those things. In reality, it's just treating ourselves as a friend, right? This is the only lifelong friend you will really have, meaning the person that's been with you since the beginning. You are your only true lifelong friend, unless you're a twin. But then, okay, let me not go too far. You're your only real lifelong friend. So the relationship you have with that person in your mind, right? The relationship you have with yourself is going to determine the trajectory of almost everything. How are you going to build trust with yourself if you're so busy sending signals, the things that you say, right? Sending signals about how you don't believe in your abilities, about how bad of a person you are, about how awful you are, about how you're not worth it, about how you knew you would fail. The rest of the world and the environment might already be doubting you. Why would you double down? Please explain. Why would you double down? The ultimate goal is to feel secure in your own abilities and what you are able to accomplish. The goal is to feel strong enough to handle unforeseen circumstances and to be able to rise to the occasion and to be able to actually live to your fullest and honest, true potential. We want to be able to adjust to tricky circumstances with grace and a feeling of empowerment. And that sometimes will often take a concerted effort, especially if it's not something that we're used to. If we're used to putting so many other people's needs above our own, if we're used to counting ourselves out, putting ourselves on the back burner, that's going to feel uncomfortable. That's going to feel different. It might even feel selfish. In order to be your best self, there is a level of selfishness that does have to come into play. There is a level of releasing the expectation that others may have on you, or feeling as if your life is dependent on the opinion of others or the good graces of others. We have to release ourselves from that in order to truly feel free and start to develop that trust and confidence within ourselves. Sometimes it's just not able to be explored, right? So if we have never had the opportunity to truly explore our feelings or what we're actually capable of, it can feel difficult. It can feel different. It can feel foreign even, but trust that you are able to manage the discomfort. If you want different results, you have to do different things, right? But needless to say, I hope that this message finds those that need it. I hope you stick around for more content. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. I'm very grateful to those that are supporting my work and interested in the things that I have to say. I have such a passion for sharing information. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've had to go on that journey of showing up for yourself in the same way that you've shown up for others, or if you've had to actually acknowledge, the ways that you may have been falling short in your own life for the sake of other people. I would love to know your stories and connect with some of you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to sharing more information with you and connecting with you all. Bye for now.